Welcome to Morning Joe and the Pro. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined today by our man, Ralph Michaels. Good morning, Ralph. Bright and early on a Friday. You know what today is?
Yeah, it's Derby Eve.
It is. It's like, when you're a little kid, you can't wait to go to bed. One sleep left, and then you end up, it's Christmas morning. That's the Kentucky Derby, buddy. I'm ready. We're sporting another Derby hat today. Got a lot of buzz yesterday with the videos that Kelly and I did. Check those out over at WagerTalk TV. 10 videos in studio yesterday, Ralph. We gave you guys the week off because it was nothing but horses. Yesterday, we covered 8 of the top contenders, talked them, broke them down, and then we had a video with long shots, and we had the video where we just wrapped it all together and put the stuff, preview of what we thought was going to happen in the Kentucky Derby. Today's the Kentucky Oaks, the fillies. I know you're a ladies' man, Ralph, both two-legged and four-legged. So we're going to have the addition of the four-legged fillies today. I'm going to let you grill me because, I know, you're not the horse guy. You'll be there playing. You'll be making some money on Friday and Saturday. Probably a couple alcoholic, adult beverages along the way. Over, under, prop bet, going a full race card on a Saturday. How many Miller Lights will Ralph go? What do you want to listen? Where should we not put a total up and just let them comment?
Yeah, we'll not put a total up. I don't want to.
Well, I want to see what our viewers think. So down below, guys, I want you to put in what you think the total consumption will be of Miller Lights on Saturday for Ralph during the Kentucky Derby.
Well, let's give them perspective. We're going to the South Point to watch it. Our good friend Chris Andrews, and I'll probably get there about noon. So we'll have, I'm saying a 3.5 hour window will be what we have the time to give everyone a fair perspective.
Okay, Ralph, from the time he arrives, which is estimated time of noon, to the Kentucky Derby goes final. Once they put up the payoffs, whatever beer is in his hand at that moment, that is the final count. So let's see who gets the closest. Comment down below. And, the guy that nails it, Ralph, we'll have to come up with something. We'll get him some wager bucks or something. What do you think?
Well, Marco, let's talk a little bit about the Kentucky Oaks. Of course, always the day before the Derby. Weather's not going to be an issue. Oh, yeah, I do have one more joke that I want to throw out. I know you started the show calling it Morning Joe and the Pro. I was thinking perhaps we'll call it Marco and Friend because we get cash. So we can now call it Marco and Friend. Yeah. So I want you to know that I got the deposit in my bank. I appreciate that. So unlike the Derby, we do have a favorite here in Bellafina. Now, I'm going to be devil's advocate. I am not a horse person like you. I just am like a regular Joe who did some reading on Bellafina. And this is what I'm going to say to you. Tell me which is more accurate. I should be betting Bellafina because she was 6-1 her last 7 starts. And 5 of those 6 wins were by 4 lengths or more. Impressive. Or is this more true? I should be fading Bellafina because all 3 races in 2019 were at Santa Anita with only 5 horses in the field, no real competition. And the only other time she got shipped out was here in Churchill last year for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and she finished 4th.
Look at you go. I'm like a proud dad. Look at this. My son did research on horses. Look at that. I might even buy you lunch today. I'm proud. I might tear up here, Ralph, because, guys, a couple years ago, he didn't know the front end of a horse from a horse's ass. I mean, he actually thought Brian Leonard was a horse's ass. I had to explain to him, no, there's a good resemblance, but not actually. Sorry, Brian, I get a chance to get a dig in on you without you to rebuttal. I'll take it.
Brian's going to watch a horse video.
Yeah, right, exactly. We got no shot of him finding out unless somebody tweets at him and tells him. Hey, That's a good description on Bellafina. She has been sensational so far, Ralph. Yes, she's raced the California circuit, everything at Santa Anita. And the reason those fields were so small, Ralph, nobody wanted to race against her. Let's be honest. She's been a phenom. But I'll tell you what, Bob Baffert, he doesn't duck anybody. And he's got a horse in here, Fleur de Lamar, the number 5 horse. I think the only horse in the race that has legitimate shot at upsetting Bellafina. Now, the last time these two met was the last time out, and Bellafina took care of her by 5 1/4 lengths. So why do I think he can turn the tables here? Well, that was only the 3rd start of the career for number 5. This horse still hasn't peaked. The horse is... they're all 3-year-olds. We talk about it when we deal the Derby, that you want these horses to peak the first Saturday in May. Well, with the fillies, you want them to peak that first Friday in May for them to get to their full potential. 3 starts. We haven't seen the ceiling yet for the number 5 horse. And Baffert could have skipped the Oaks and went to an easier race where he would have probably been, one of the overwhelming favorites, but he chose the Oaks. He likes these big races, and what I like is this horse went out and battled with Bellafina in only with 2 races under its belt. So this horse wasn't as tight as Bellafina in that last race. I think she closes the gap. And given the fact that Bellafina is going to be the overwhelming favorite in this race, we're getting some value with the 5 horse. So what I've done for the listeners today, put together a little complimentary package where we're going to invest $120 in the race. We're going to have some fun. We're going to go to the sports book today. We'll have a few drinks. We'll have some lunch, and we'll watch these races. And here's how I'm going to invest $120 in the Kentucky Oaks for Friday. We're going to play a trifecta, a $1 trifecta. Ralph, we're going to put the 4 Bellafina and the 5 Fleur de Lamar as our top 2 horses. So when you go to the window, you say 4, 5, then you say with. And the with means is we're moving to the 2nd position.
Hey, Marco?
Yes.
Let me stop you there. Before you finish this free trifecta, tell me how I can get your Derby picks with a coupon.
Oh, boy, you talk about a cliffhanger. Leave him right hanging right after we give him the 2 horses to win. You want to find out? I should actually sell the rest of this combination now after you did that, Ralph. And tune in next week to find out. Now, yes, we got our Kentucky Derby package going tomorrow, Ralph. $39 will get you my Saturday Kentucky Derby package. What you get is you're going to get my top sports pick for the day, whether it be the basketball play or a baseball play. I'm going to put my top play in there. I'm going to give you all of my betting strategies for the Kentucky Derby. You've been with me at South Point many years. What we do, I lay that sheet out exactly as I'm betting it myself. 2 years ago, we put $390 investment in the Kentucky Derby. That brought back $9,069.
And Marco did buy dinner that night.
Yeah, I did buy dinner that night. Absolutely. Everybody that was at the table. And funny story, real fast, you can confirm this. Brian Leonard had his wife there. Gil had his girlfriend there, Deborah. Of course, my wife, Lori, was there. I told the 3 girls they wanted to know what to bet. All the guys, the superstars at that table that we had from around Vegas there, they wanted my plays. I told them how to play the Exacta, which the Exacta that day brought back big price. All 3 of them cashed a ticket for the Exacta. They all loved me. First time in my history that I made 3 girls happy at the same time, Ralph. But not all you guys listen to me. The girls, they were rewarded. And that usually happens when you're dealing with Marco in satisfaction. But
all of your Derby picks and your top sports pick and make it even better.
$10 coupon. You had to listen to my bad jokes. We'll give you a $10 coupon. It's Marco 10. You'll get it for $29, the package. Head over to WagerTalk.com. It's up right now. I'll be adding the plays later today, so don't get excited. We've had another scratch in the Derby tomorrow, so we're changing some things around. We'll have our final bet sheet sent out tonight, so don't panic. You'll have plenty of time. And then the sports pick will be up on Saturday. So check that out at WagerTalk. You can buy the package now, and you're in there. So the minute I load it, you'll get an email knowing what the plays are.
Back to the Oaks. You said you are putting the 4 and 5 on top of who?
All right, tune in next week. We'll tell you if we no, Ralph in the cliffhanger. We're going to put the 4-5 on top of 4 horses. So you say 4-5, $1 try, 4-5 with 4, 5, 10, 14. We're putting 4 horses in the second slot. That means any of those 4 horses can run second. We have to have either the 4 or the 5 win the race, and then we got to have either the 4, 5, 10, or 14 run second. And then in the third slot, say with 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 14. Now that sounds like a lot of horses. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 14. That's just giving us coverage on the bottom end of the try. That ticket itself, $1 ticket, Ralph, is going to cost you a grand total of $30. Play that, read it just the way I gave it to you. That's a $30 ticket. We're going to play an Exacta box. We're going to take those 4 horses that we used in the second slot, 4, 5, 10, 14, make a $5 Exacta box. That's going to cost $60, okay? But we're going to have a $5 ticket. If we hit that, what we need to do is 2 of those 4 horses need to run first and second for us to cash the Exacta. And then we're going to go for our 2 cold punch Exactas. $20 Exacta, 4-5. It's exactly 4-5 has to run that way. And a $10 Exacta, 5-4. And that has to run 5-4. That's what we're doing with the Oaks. Just a simple wager. Tomorrow in the Derby, we'll have more complicated stuff, but I'll have it spelled out on a sheet for you. You can take the email, print it out, go to the track with you. Or if you're betting on, through an app, you can just read it right off the sheet. It'll show you everything to do. Check it out. You've seen it, Ralph. It's easy for you to understand. You're not a guy that bets horses all the time, but we make it as easy as possible. And, of course, we'll be around all day on Twitter tomorrow as well, in between beverages and me trying to keep the accurate count of Ralph's Miller Lights.
For all our viewers, what we do is to make sure it's user-friendly, we give it to Brian, and if Brian can go up to a horse window and make the bets properly, we know that anyone can do it. So don't worry about that. Marco, I do have one more question. In all the intense study I did, Eddie Empress, bled the last time. I've never heard that in a race. And if anyone's going to watch the Oaks today, they're probably going to hear it. Can you just explain that to me?
Okay, what bleeding means is when a horse stresses itself, a lot of times it ends up bleeding into its lungs. Literally, it's bleeding, and it puts a fluid on their lungs. Well, you know that when you got any kind of fluid on your lungs, you don't breathe as well as you do when your nasal passages are clear and everything else. So the horse just loses air towards the end of the race, can't finish the race well. A lot of times, and you can be very severe, where the horse will have just an absolutely god-awful race. Nobody knows what happens till after the race. They scope the horse, and what they do is the state vet actually puts a scope down the horse's nostril, goes into the horse's lungs, and they can see in there. And when they see the blood in there, then what they end up doing is put the horse on Lasix. So when you see a horse that's racing on Lasix, he has bled somewhere along the way, and now this is a drug that doesn't enhance his performance, but it helps. It's a diuretic. It flushes the lungs and helps to prevent a horse from bleeding so that he can keep his air and have his full potential for that race. So that's what happens there. It's generally a lot of people like to bet first-time Lasix with a horse when they use it because they think it would be a big improvement. Usually is, but I can tell you from personal racing, there's not a set dosage that you give them. There's a range of you can use anywhere from 1 cc to X number of cc's, depending on the track location and what their state laws are. But you don't know what the right dosage is. So it's a little bit of trial and error. Usually what trainers do is they go somewhere in the middle, see how the horse raced that time, rescope afterwards, and then they'll make an adjustment up or down on a bigger or smaller dose. If you give too much, Ralph, you can actually have the horse. If you've heard when you get dehydrated, when you exert yourself too much because you're sweating and everything and you got to replenish fluids, horses can have that happen too if we're flushing too much stuff out of the horse's system with Lasix and a diuretic. So you have to stay after it. It's not an exact science.
So the Kentucky Oaks today at Churchill, it goes somewhere between 5:30 and 6:30. It's on NBC Sports. Don't get shut out. The Kentucky Derby tomorrow. No rain tonight for the Oaks. Perhaps some rain tomorrow. That's, of course, is in your handicapping.
We look at it, but Ralph, if you look at the horses this year, the majority of the horses have already raced over a muddy track. So it's not going to alter my handicapping immensely. And obviously, they caught a break. You know, the rest of the field, Omaha Beach didn't, but Omaha Beach went a tremendous race in the mud in his last start. So a lot of, they caught a break with him not being there, the rest of the field. And I think that's going to increase our payouts. People say, well, with him out, that, all the odds come down on the other contenders. Yeah, individually, the horses, the odds come down a tick. But to use a phrase in football, Ralph, that we hear all the time, it creates better parity with the rest of the horses in this race, making it a wide open race, more betting combinations that you have to try to cover, and we're going to get bigger payouts for the exotics, in my opinion, with him out.
That's what it's all about in the Derby, getting it.
I don't know. I thought it was all about getting those free drink coupons when we're betting. That's the other point. When you're betting at a casino, and rumor has it I've been known to bet quite a bit of money in the horse racing, so I get a lot of free drink tickets, and I'm not a drinker. So I'm Ralph's best buddy on Derby Day. He snuggles right up next to me, so he's close to that pile of free drink coupons.
I pretty much just take them over. There are mine.
Ralph, I've said it many times. I say it to Johnny too. Johnny's the younger version of the son I never had. You're the older version of the son I never had. Just call me Poppy. You going to close this up, or am I going to close it up?
Close it up, bud.
All right. He is Ralph Michaels. I am Marco D'Angelo. This is Morning Joe and the Pro special edition. We could call it the Pro and the Horse's Ass. You were the Pro today because you asked the questions. I'm the Horse's Ass, I guess. But let's get to the winner's circle. Everybody will be happy, guys. Check out the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. Good luck with the Kentucky Oaks. We will be back next week with Morning Joe and the Pro. Thanks, guys.